my mom went to school in Chatham. That's good.
Excuse me.
It's customary for us to meet and greet our new guests, persons who have joined and here for the first time. So that is what we're going to do now. We're going to ask each new member if their names, maybe say who invited them and what they hope to achieve by joining this group. You would need to stand. Could you stand, please? And you would need to position yourself because you're being streamed worldwide. So the videographer is that way, so you need to sort of semi-face that way. Is that okay, Hollis?
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I am Captain Alexis Derrick, and I'm happy to be here so that I can meet new people and just have fun. Good morning, I'm Carol. First time here. My first time here. I've been a member of Ttarp for I've been a member of Ttarp for a few years, but it's the first time I'm coming to the social aspect of it.
Good morning. My name is Margaret Julia David. I was invited by Megan Character, and I'm very happy to be here. I hope to make new friends.
Good morning. I'm here for the first time, and I saw this group here. And I saw this in the magazine. I decided to come and
Good morning, everyone. I'm here to It's my first time here because I have been otherwise occupied with Tuesday, so I'm here now. Good morning, everyone. I'm here to Huggins. My first time here. I've been a member for a few years, but now got the opportunity to come to the meeting.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Karima Kajam, and I joined recently to make new friends and have fun.
My name is Harry Buduki, and I've joined 2 weeks ago, and I was procrastinating. I wanted to join a long time ago. And I'm happy to be here, make new friends, and social.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Nadine Purfising, Nadine Brown Purfising. I'm a retiree of San Fernando Corporation, and I too was procrastinating a bit because I'm retired a few years. But when I hear and read about the things that are happening at this association, I said I should join. And I joined only in April. I met a gentleman named Mr. Fraser at Massey Stores. And I'm very delighted. That's my first time, and I'm already feeling the love from you all. I'm happy to be here. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. I was invited a while ago, a couple months. I registered and all that, but just today, my daughter encouraged me, Mom, go and see how it is, you might like it. But it seems to be going so far. Marjorie Patrice.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jill-Ann Hollis. I have been registered since August last year, but it's my first time here. I have been encouraged many years ago by Mrs. D'Anthony. By the way, this is my former neighbor. So we're here to have fun together.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm Brenda Romilly. My name is Brenda Romilly. You don't hear me? Good morning, everyone. My name is Brenda Romilly. I was invited by Rebecca Tate to come to this organization, and I'm hoping to receive everything that is donated. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. I am Listra Handley, and I have been planning to attend these meetings for the longest while. So I finally decided, with the push from two friends, come. So I'm here today to join the Purple Diamonds. You all seem to be having so much fun. I want to be part of it.
New members, can you have your seat?
Very mic.
Okay, can we now stand for the Ttarp prayer, please?
Take the mic from him. Somebody down there with you.
Father, we thank you for bringing us together this day. Be with us as we come in fellowship to discuss, plan, and implement our projects. We thank you for allowing us to enjoy the golden years together as we ask you for health, strength, wisdom, peace, and grateful life, so that we can assist our family. At the end of our activities today, take us home safely to our loved ones, to continue to love and serve you. We praise and thank you. Amen. Could we kindly remain standing for National Anthem of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago? Can we just stand for a little bit longer in a moment's silence for those who are not with us today, some of those were not able to attend meetings for one reason or the other, and for those who are willing but unable. Good morning again, all. For the new members, I am Carl Ryan, chairman of this August group of very beautiful persons. I can't help but observing your anticipated looks as we talk about enjoyment. Hope you'll be able to enjoy the day's proceeding. We have already had Anselm Wanters, giving us a bit of his, showing off a bit of his talent. We have a lineup. Of course, we are in the atmosphere of Father's Day, so that is indeed one of the recognitions we'll be paying attention to. And we have Father West, who will be coming in later to talk about Father's Day, or man and fatherhood. And I think we're also recognizing Indian Arrival Day. And we will be having Mr. Judah, I believe, coming to address us on that issue. Of course, part of our objective is to look at completing our 28th year anniversary, which, because of unforeseen circumstances, we had to reschedule the dance event for the 18th of this month. We have marketing personnel in the name of Miss Aline, who markets for Joey Lewis, one of the bands that will be playing at our dance. So she will give us a little idea of how we're planning to go about this. And so in the meantime, we will just look at the administrative bits. So we will call on the secretary to give us the secretary's report.
Good morning to everyone. I do hope everybody can hear me clearly. First, I just want to welcome the new members. Thank you for being with us. I also, of course, want to extend greetings, especially to the fathers. We have very few males, I know, in our group, but we want to extend greetings to the men. I should have said the men who have come to be with us, especially for today. My name is Norma George Ocho. I'm the secretary of Purple Diamond Ttarp, and I'm going to give you the minutes. The minutes of the general meeting of the Purple Diamond Ttarp San Fernando, held on Tuesday, 7th May 2024 at number 2 Prince Alfred Street, San Fernando at 10:50 a.m. The OSHAC was read, new members introduced themselves, and all were welcomed by the chairman. Pearl Lewis collected a long service certificate for Diane Da Costa, who had been unable to attend for Purple Diamond's anniversary interfaith service. The Ttarp prayer was then recited, followed by the singing of the national anthem. A minute's silence was then observed in recognition of members who were absent and those who were no longer with us. The minutes of the May 2024 meeting were read, and the following noted. Corrections. Going to a mix-up in the names, Ansel Valley was our singer and Anselm Walters the violins. Omissions. It was noted that at the May meeting, the chairman indicated that the Purple Diamonds account was proceeding along. That was omitted from the minutes.
Business arising. In response to a member's request for information on the monies raised by the April curfew, the chairman indicated that 200 tickets at $45 each had been sold, but a comprehensive financial report would be given by the events committee at the end of the anniversary celebrations. The chairman then indicated that owing to the absence of the treasurer who has been ill, no report would be given. The vice chairman further explained that the assistant treasurer did not have sufficient time since receipt of the financial statements the day before from the treasurer to present a comprehensive report. One would be given at the June meeting. The chairman indicated opening of a Purple Diamonds bank account continues to be problematic, particularly now with the unavailability of the treasurer who had been designated as a signatory. He would seek the bank's advice going further. The chairman urged members to support the anniversary ball, as it was his shared vision that Purple Diamonds would ultimately acquire its own property, which would include a senior citizens' home. New business. The Development Financial Committee then did quite a lengthy presentation on its procedures, followed by questions with gifts for correct answers, including hamper giveaways. All of this was enthusiastically received by our members. 2, an announcement was made of a $10 prize raffle, the prize being a ticket to the anniversary ball. 3, the events committee then presented an update on the anniversary celebrations, which included a successful anniversary interfaith service and the availability of tickets for the anniversary ball. The vice chairman then gave a delightfully interesting presentation dedicated to mothers. She congratulated the mothers, as she said she wanted to give them their flowers. So she congratulated them on being the matriarchs, the guiding light, shaping families and communities, mastering the art of aging gracefully, being wisdom keepers, well equipped to mentor the younger mothers. The vice chairman also encouraged all women to embrace life fully in the fourth period of their life, to indulge in social engagements that would assist with stress management. And of course, she ended with the term, you all do all of this to live younger, longer. Anderson Valley then did a song in tribute to mothers as members danced and sang along. Members were encouraged to attend his Mother's Day celebration. The raffle was then drawn, and there being no further business, the meeting concluded at 12:40 p.m. Respectfully submitted, Norma George Ocho, Secretary. For persons who are here, are there any omissions, corrections that didn't appear in the minutes? Omissions, corrections. Right, moving briskly along. So again, for persons who were here, I need someone to confirm and someone to second. First, we have confirmation. Norma James will say to the your lovely voice, nice and loud. But Norma James confirming and seconded. In a hand way back. Sally. Thank you. I got the name right. That's Sally. Yes, I heard this thing. Sally Richards. Thank you. So Norma James confirmed and Sally Richards second. Okay, and before I take my seat, I just want to move to my other cap, that of tour coordinator. Now, again for the new members, what we've been doing for the past many years, and I've been with the group for the past many years, what we try to do to raise funds for the group is to have a tour and outing every month. And by the way, I want to thank all the members 6 maxis that went first to the Chagaramas Military Museum. Then, no, first we went to Carry Boardwalk. Then we stopped for a bit at the Lookout, and then we went to the Chagaramas Military Museum, and then had a bit of a rain, but we went to Macquarie still, and a few brave members did have a bag. So I want to thank you for your support. So for the new members, we do this, we try to do this, thank you. Thank the members. What we do from these outings, and these are the Purple Diamonds outings, whatever surplus that we raise from the outing, they go towards the group. So any activities we have, we can support it financially. Okay, so that's the purpose. Of course, the main purpose is that we go out to have fun, have a good time. We do that too. So you would notice that there are persons taking down names for the next outing, which should take place on the 22nd. And again, members, I know originally it was started for the 29th. Unfortunately, we had to shift. So on the 22nd, we're going to Green Pastures Estate in Cunarico or Sandy Grande. We went there once before COVID. A lot of people don't know that place. So those who are going will get a chance to see it. I advise members to go on the Facebook page. There's a lot of information and pictures there that you can see about them. So in advance, I'm thanking those who will be going. So thank you, members. Do enjoy the rest of your meeting.
At this time, we would usually have the treasurer's report. Our treasurer is unwell at the moment. Our assistant treasurer, I understand, is out of the country. The assistant treasurer has indicated that she is unable to write a comprehensive treasurer's report because there are certain things within the treasurer's report that she don't understand, so she'll have to get confirmation. She further said that she has provided an interim report, which I don't think should be read to you because we haven't had a treasurer's report for the past few months. So I think we could wait. Let's hear what that final report is. This is your money we're dealing with, okay? So we need to get a comprehensive report of what has been happening over the past few months. Okay, so in the absence of that, I would, or just to recognize our chairman from Princestown, Rio Claro, Princestown, Mr. Ronnie Roberts, who is a very active member. And he will be talking to us in a while about a bingo that will be coming off at the end of the month, plus a raffle. We also have our own raffle going, and I hope you all have been purchasing tickets because we need to raise funds for our anniversary project. Let me just give you an idea of the prices. Two wonderful homemade sweet bread. I think it's too much for one person. We'll have to split it. And then we have a large glass serving set that look like Pyrex. Also to remind you, part of our community obligation is to ask for your kind donation every quarter, what we call a community outreach program. And money is collected are then donated to needy persons in the community. So we appreciate your donation and your sacrifice. So what we'll do now is have Miss Ali come up and give us a little idea of what this dance project would look like. Could we bring her on with a round of applause, please?
I am marketing consultant with the Purple Diamond. It is my pleasure this morning to give you all some more information on the upcoming event, which is carded for the 18th of June, night before the holiday, which would be the first annual ball. I'm just struggling to get the laptop to be steady. Yeah. Any better? Everyone can hear me? Okay. So, on the 18th of June, we are looking at the first annual ball. We have currently, one moment please. Right, so we are currently working on the marketing process by getting the brochures out there, the flyers out there, to advertise and inform the general public that we are having the first annual Purple Diamond Ball that is carded for Carnival City in Gulf City Mall. We have also worked on getting some donations in the form of hampers for giveaways, as well as ticket purchases to give away to a couple of patrons. Just bear with me, I wasn't sure that I was going to be up that soon, so I was working on some other stuff. So I'm just pulling up our last notes in terms of where we are at. So currently we have 6 hampers carded for the event, and we are working on getting some additional hampers or donations for whether it may be, well, a couple of the places would be respect to like clothing hampers, we have food hampers, we have, I think I got 2 from Movie Town as well. So that would be the 6 that are there so far. But the main thing is that we need to keep pushing the sales of the tickets, which is the important factor. It is geared towards raising the funds that will put towards things that the group would do, whether it would be outings or whatever else you all would desire to do. That is the reason for the event. Just bear with me. Okay, so we are hoping that within next week we are able to increase the sales of the tickets and do a collaboration with just a demonstration of what the band is going to offer, which is Carl Jerry Lewis Orchestra, on that day, with a couple of the members just coming in and, you know, showing the general public on social media what they can expect. So we would hope to have maybe as well, if it could be done, if I'm able to get that, would be some television exposure as well as radio. I'm still working on those 2 factors, but because of the current atmosphere and climate, a lot of these organizations prefer to get into things that are more beneficial to them, But what I'm explaining to them is we are all going to meet this retirement age. Whatever age that would be, we are all going to meet that age. So it is a worthy and wise cause to get into. In terms of right, so bear with me a moment. Okay, so I don't know if anyone have any questions, but in terms of the update as to where we are still pushing on marketing efforts to generate the attention of the public that will further generate the sales. So does anyone have any questions or concerns? So our current target on ticket sales is an amount of 300. The cost of the ticket would be grouped by a couple, which would be $300, whether it would be two friends coming or husband and wife, it's 300. Individual tickets are 175. The total tickets we're hoping to sell for the event will be 300. Anyone else have any questions or concerns? Okay, at this current moment, as Dr. Ryan explained, the treasurer is out, so I don't have an update on the ticket sales at the moment, but we are gearing towards the figure, the target figure, which is 300. Yeah? Anybody else have any questions or concerns?
I don't want to interrupt, but just as the secretary for the notes that the minister I'm taking, I heard you introduce yourself as the marketing consultant for Purple Diamond. Yes.
Okay, so for this time and this moment, we have wrapped up the current activities on my end with respect to marketing and advertising. Should we need to address anything further, I will still be here to be called on. All right, so thank you guys for your time. Take care.
Members, just want to make it absolutely clear. This is not the chairman's business. This is a legacy, 28 years of existence. And what we are doing here is for Purple Diamonds. The chairman has formed an events committee, which I believe will assist the group in advancing the cause of significant events. And so we realized we were out of our depths when we decided to conduct this anniversary event. None of us had any clue. We didn't even have a penny in our pocket. We were erratic and innocent in our behavior, but we meant well. Along the way, we came upon Miss Ali, who is a marketing person and she markets for Joey Lewis. And so we thought that this would be a good opportunity to ask her to assist us because we don't have the type of knowledge she has. So she is here to help us to make this thing possible. Okay, now we would have Father West come to speak to us about Father's Day. Thank you, Father West.
Eh? You ain't seen one? Me? Why? Why you not seen me? I on Facebook?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, I realized that we had such a large group of retirees in this area, or else I would have joined. I have been a member of Ttarp for a long time, but I never joined any of the groups because we were always on the move. But it's good to be here today and to share a little bit with you about fathers. Some people think fatherhood is a right, but really it is a privilege. And we have to get our boys to understand that. One of my pet peeves with our culture is that we bring up our boys differently to our girls. And so we place them so often at a disadvantage because we bring them up with a lot of privileges. We bring them up like princes, and really we don't spend the time to teach them some of the basic elements of relationships. And so they grow up without understanding how to respect a woman. They grow up without understanding what their role is, and they get all kinds of influences from all over the place, which really don't always give a positive outcome to the kind of men that we would like to have. And of course, the evidence is all around us. Because when I look at this crowd, I have to look carefully to find the men, because they're not here. And I once, when I was in QF, I challenged the ladies to bring the men out. It didn't make a difference. And what I realized is that when the ladies were coming to church, it was a good opportunity for them to leave the guys at home and not have to take them along another place. But really, you know, very often we have to ask, where are the men? And more often we have to ask, where are the fathers? When you go to the PTA meetings and other meetings in schools, you want to know where are the fathers. However, in recent time, some of the young fathers have been stepping up to their responsibility. When I was asked to come to talk about Father's Day, I said I prefer to talk about fathers rather than the day. And I decided to do what we have done with mothers, you know, the acrostic, as they have M is for the million things and so on. I decided to try to do that as I present what I consider to be the role of the father. So I started off with F, faith sharer. The father should be able to share his understanding of God, his faith in God with his children. Why? Because our relationship with God must be our number one priority. Because that relationship influences who we are, what we think about ourselves, how we think about ourselves, and how we think about others. For if we acknowledge that God is our Father, God created us, and God desires to have a father-child relationship with us, then we should see ourselves as God's children. I am a special child of God. God created me lovingly in my mother's womb, and God gave me the gift of life. And God supports that gift throughout my life. And at the end of the journey, I believe that I would come face to face with this Father God who gave me the gift of life, who walked with me through the journey, and who will be there at the end of it. And so we must have faith. We must believe in a being greater than ourselves. One writer says, if God didn't exist, we would have to invent God. Because really we need to understand that we are not in this world just so. There's no accident of birth. We're reminded that each of us, God has a plan and a purpose for our lives. And of course, at our age, we have the luxury of looking back and identifying times when we would not have been here except for God's intervention. We can look back on our lives and see how God has been guiding us, especially in the times when we had disappointments or failures, something we really wanted and it didn't happen, and we had to do something else. And then a few years later you look back and you say, you know, it was a good thing, I didn't get that. And so we really need to journey with faith. And fathers must be able to share their faith with their children. Of course, you have to have something to share. And one of the mistakes I think we make so often is that we do not recognize that men have a spirituality. I think even the church made the mistake of not acknowledging that men express their spirituality in front of women. And we really haven't, to my mind, tried to accommodate the way in which men express their spirituality. Women are faithful. They would come to a meeting once a month or once a week, every week, and they would not miss unless something very important happened. But men are not like that. If you give them something to do, if you challenge them to do something, they will come, they will meet, they will do it, and then you will see them the next time you have something else for them to do. Really, it's a fact. So, you know, they're not coming every week. And so we have to try to understand that and find ways of helping them to express their spirituality. I learned that from my father. My mother, of course, was very faithful. She would take us all to church on Sunday morning and so on, and get us involved in activities in the church. But my father would read his Bible every day. He would get up early, he would say his prayers, he would kneel next to the bed, say his prayers, and spend about half an hour reading and reflecting on the Bible. He didn't go to church because he didn't always agree with what was said from the pulpit. But that didn't mean that he didn't have a spirituality. He did. And he developed his spirituality in his own way. And so we have to help the fathers to do that so that they have a spirituality of faith to share with the children. Because today, children need faith and an understanding of God more than ever. And so the father must be faith sharer, having the ability to share whatever he believes, whoever he believes ought to be with the children. Advisor. Today we find our youth, young people, very knowledgeable. They have a lot of information. They know things that we have no idea about. But what they lack is an experience of living. They don't understand the pitfalls that come with this journey of life. And so one of the roles of fathers is to advise, give them good and solid advice. And we receive those good, solid advice in what we used to refer to as the Proverbs. You know, think before you leap. Not everything that looks like gold is valuable, and things like that. And somehow those proverbs seem to have disappeared. But they were good, solid advice for us. And our fathers must be able to share good advice with children, because even though sometimes they feel they know everything, they don't. And as I said, they don't have the experience of living. And so we need to give them good advice. We also have to remember that it is just that, advice. And when they reach 18 years, they don't have to take it. But we have to give it. Whether they take it or not is their own decision. But our responsibility is to share good, solid advice with our children. So F, faith sharer. A, advisor. T, teacher. How are our young people, our children, to understand, to get information, knowledge of the world around them? How are they to develop skills unless they're taught? And the father's role is very important, because we know from our experience that when mothers always seem to step up and take their responsibility seriously. But there are lots of things that you really can't learn from your mother. A lot of knowledge, a lot of skills, a lot of understanding of the world. So fathers have to come forward and teach their children good manners, teach their children how to act with respect, teach them skills, how to change a tire. I have a sister really, who I was very proud of, because she was studying in England and she bought a car and she used to service the car herself. She would change the oil, she would change the brake pads, you know. And even though these days, you know, you can call up somebody, you know, what is service help. You have a problem, you call them up and they will come and change the tire. But you have to know how to change it too, because if they're not doing it the right way, you have absolutely no idea. And there is a way to change a tire that is safe. you know, and so fathers have to be able to pass on those skills, the knowledge. And sometimes it's simply as learning how to play dominoes, learning how to play chess, learning how to play all fours. You know, we have a whole generation of young people who don't know what that is. And that brings us together. It gives us something to do when we line in. It gives us something to do when we have a family gathering. All those little skills that fathers are called to share, to teach the children, so that we have this strong, cohesive family. And that is perhaps the thing that we lack the most. And when we hear about the crime and the murders, you know, and we hear one set blaming the children and somebody else blaming the police and somebody else blaming the parents, really we have to understand that so much of life has not been passed on to some of these young people. And so it's not only as father a responsibility you have for your children, as father you have a responsibility for other people's children. And you know, today we make the excuse. Long ago you could talk to a child and they would listen. But even though they're not going to listen today, that doesn't mean that you have to be exempted from not talking to them. Because if you don't, who will? You know, we can't just say they wouldn't listen. You don't know how much would stick. You know, there's a saying, when you throw mud on a wall, you don't know how much would stick. Sometimes just a word that they might remember from what you said would help them to make the right decision down the road. So we can't give up. Fathers, we really have to continue to teach our children and help them to be able to be good people, good citizens, good people who understand that they have a contribution to make to this nation of ours. And as we teach, we have to be hearers. You know, there's a passage in the Bible that says, do not be doers of the word, not hearers only. But as fathers, we have to hear. We have to learn to listen to our children. One of the first things that they would say to us sometimes in frustration is, you're not listening to me. And, you know, we not only have to learn to hear what they say, we have to try to understand what they're saying. Because sometimes they're not able to put it in a way that we will understand. And sometimes out of frustration, they end up saying, but you're not listening to me. So we have to be able to take the time, not only to hear, but to listen to what they have to say. Hearing is a sense. Once you have two functional ears, you can hear. But listening is a skill. Listening is something that we have to learn. Not only to hear the words they're saying, but trying to understand where those words come from. What is the emotion behind what they're saying? Because so often they're not able to really express what is in there, what is in their heart. And so, fathers, we have to be hearers, listeners, giving them the opportunity to speak without interruption. And you know that is hard for us. But we have to learn. You have something to say? Okay, say it. And I will listen. And I will hear you. And then I will respond. Hopefully I will be able to respond with understanding, with wisdom, and the ability to put myself in your place. Because because so often, we respond to people without trying to understand where they are, where they're coming from. And so our response is not about them, it is about me. And if it is about me, you can't help them. It must be about them. Helping them to understand their situation, helping them to make some sense of what they are going through. So we have for F, the faith sharer, A, the advisor, T, the teacher, H, the hearer, E, the engager. Engage them. Find out what they're thinking. Find out what is their priority. And one of the things that I have found with young people these days is that some of them don't realize the tremendous potential they have. And when they make goals, the goals are kind of nearsighted. They wouldn't say, I want to be the best so-and-so. They might say, okay, I want to be, go into a business. But there's no idea of making this, whatever business it is, the best business in that class. So they don't seem to want to aim for the stars. They're just satisfied with what might be mediocrity. And so we have to engage them as fathers and get them to think, beyond the normal, beyond the average. Get them to think big. So that, if you don't get to the stars, at least you'll get to the clouds. Or if you don't know where you're going, you wouldn't get anywhere. And when you don't have a big vision, and you get obstacles, it is easier for that vision to fade. But when you have the big vision, when you have your eyes set on being the best that you can, you will always not accept anything less. And so as fathers, we have to engage our children. You want to be a mechanic, you must be the best mechanic that you can be. Because that's the only way that you will be fulfilling your potential. And these days, they have wide opportunities for self-development. And I read in the newspaper recently that Bridget Barrington, one of the historians of New Week, has written a biography of Patrick Manning. And certainly it is one of the things that I'm looking forward to read. Because I don't believe that as citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, we appreciated, or even now appreciate the vision that Patrick Manning had for this country. Patrick Manning was a true visionary. You see that University of Trinidad and Tobago that he established in the face of a lot of criticism, but we have UE, so why do you need another university? The University of Trinidad and Tobago has opened up tremendous opportunities for young people. They're doing performing arts. They're doing visual arts. And they are seeing that in these things, you can make a living, you can make a contribution to Trinidad and Tobago. And, it really is making a difference. And so we have to really engage our children and find out what they want to do with their lives. I have this very interesting story, and it is a true story. Two girls went to Bishop Anstey for Spain. They did sixth form, and in those days, you only had a choice of 4 groups: science, languages, modern studies, mathematics. If you know the choices they have today: entrepreneurship, tourism, IT, IT. They have, and the others like principles of business and accounts and all of those things. They have a wide range of subjects now. In those days, we only had 4. And if you couldn't do science and you couldn't do languages, that's it, no 6th form for you. So the opportunities are there. So these 2 girls graduated from Bishop's Court, Spain. And one said to her father, "Daddy, I want to be an actress." This was in the 90s. And the father said, "What? You're mad? You are going to go to England and you are going to do economics." In those days, economics was the thing to save the world. You know, every so often we have a new subject to save the world. In those days, economics was it. So you would do economics and you would not come back to Trinidad until you have a master's degree in economics. And she said, "Yes, Daddy." She went to England. Every spare moment she had, she enrolled in a drama school. And while she was studying, being an obedient child, she was doing acting on the side. She's back in Trinidad, she's working in the public service, but every opportunity she gets, she's on the stage. The other girl went to her father, who fortunately was involved in the arts, and he was working in the Ministry of Culture. And she said, "Daddy, I want to be a dancer." And Daddy said, "Okay, if you want to be a dancer, you have to be the best dancer you can be." So he enrolled her in the Albany School of Dance in New York. And today, she choreographs dances for Walt Disney. So we have to allow them to express their gifts. And the opportunities that they have today to develop those gifts are tremendous. You know, there was a time when you say, musician, you want to be a musician, you can't make a living. But now you can. Because you can develop yourself to such heights that people will pay you to perform. And once you go, they will pay you regularly. So we have to really be able to engage our children. One of the things that I think that we fail to do as parents is to observe our children. Recently I went to a function and there was a little girl there about 3 years old and she was only talking. As soon as she came in, she was talking to her mother. And the mother was telling her, "Hush, hush." Now, she was probably silent to the future politician. If talking is a gift, give the child opportunities to talk. You see, and that's where sometimes we made a mistake. You have a child who always writing on the wall. The response to that is not to beat the child or to take the crayons. Put some paper and let the child express who he or she is. And that's a very important role for grandparents. Because when the parents are not observing and supporting them, sometimes granny or granddad could put in a good word for the child. Because, you know, sometimes with the pressures of parenthood, we're not observing those things. But it is important that as fathers we engage. You talk to them, find out what they want, find out what they're thinking, find out what their ambitions are. And if they don't have any, plant some seeds. Because we want our children ready to be the best that they can be. And so we go to R. They didn't give me a time limit, it's dangerous to put a priest in front of a microphone and not tell him how long it took. The last one are reconciler. Reconciler. A father must be a mender of broken relationships. Because broken relationships, if left unmended, can destroy families. We have too many family situations where one person would say, and it would even sound like a boast, I had talked to she for 5 years. How you can have a sibling that you have not spoken to for 5 years? For me, that is unimaginable. You came from the same womb, and even if you didn't, you are brothers and sisters in the Lord. You cannot tell me that somebody who is that close to you would have done or said something that deserves you're not communicating with them for 5 years. Nothing. All it takes is to put aside the pride and the ego and say, let us talk. And one of the things is that when you sit down to discuss these things, you realize, well, wait a minute, is that stupidness that you are talking for? That, I mean, you know, you realize that the thing now, with the passage of time, seems so trivial. And family is important, seriously important. And we always thank God for the mother that we had who left us this legacy of family, because it is important not only that one generation supports the other, but we pass on those family values to the next generation and the next generation. And now we have 3 generations in our family, and we try every opportunity we get to come together, to bring our children together, to bring our grandchildren together, because that is important. We have to understand that God does not desire brokenness. God does not want broken relationships. God does not desire broken bodies. That's why God is the great physician who will heal our broken bodies. That's why God has given us a faith so that we are able to heal the brokenness in mind and spirit. And so we have to ensure that there is nothing that is could be so big and so important that would cause brokenness in our families. And that is a very important role for family, for fathers. But of course, you can't do what you don't have for you, yourself. And so every father, every potential father, has a responsibility to develop their own relationship with God. Because, as I said at the beginning, that is the relationship that will influence all others. If we have, as an individual father, a relationship with God as his father, we will recognize, first of all and foremost, that God loves us. And it is out of that love that God knows us. God knows us better than we know ourselves. So as an earthly father, if I want to imitate my heavenly Father, I have to know my children. I have to understand that each one is different, that each one will react differently in different situations, in the same situation. And so I have to get to know them. And I have to strive as best as I can to keep that togetherness in the family, even though you have entirely different personalities to deal with. And I always give my mother extreme credit because she had to deal with 10 different personalities. And we, the first 5, we used to complain, you know, that she had different rules for us than for them, the lower 5. When we had to go out, we would have to go and ask for permission. Mommy, can I go so-and-so? Or Daddy, can I go so-and-so? And they would say, okay, yes or no. The last 5 would get dressed. And they would appear and say, "Mommy, we going." And she would say, "Going where?" And then she would listen to them and say, "Okay." Because you see, they knew what was acceptable and what was not. But the rules were different. And really, as fathers, we need to understand that our children are different and we have to be able to respond to each of them. But you see, having said all of that, what is most important for us as families, as fathers, is to acknowledge that it is not a right. Fatherhood is a gift from God. And if we acknowledge that it is a gift from God, we will strive to always do what God desires us to do. And that is to nurture God's children, to grow up, to know God, and of course, to fulfill God's plan and God's purpose for their lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Father West. I think you deserve another round of applause. Okay, before we introduce the next speaker, I think the Vice Chair would like to give a short introduction. Ms. Mackenzie.
Good morning, members. Good morning to our esteemed guests, Archdeacon West, Mr. Hansley Ojuda. Good morning, and Ms. Allen. Sorry about that. Good morning and welcome to the 12 new members who joined our group this morning. You have joined a very vibrant organization, and I hope you enjoy your time with us. A special good morning to Mr. Ronnie Paul from Princestown, and an extra special good morning to you, our loyal members, who month after month show up on the first Tuesday for fun and fellowship. In our zone, we recognize important national days that fall within the calendar month. Although Indian Arrival Day was officially celebrated on May 31st, we are recognizing it today, our first general meeting, just 2 days after its official celebration. And we have selected none other than Mr. Hansley Ojuda to address us on this occasion. Mr. Ojuda needs no introduction. He's a veteran of radio, television, stage, and screen. He's one of Trinidad's most recognizable actors and has one of its most recognizable voices. His career spans 40 years in theater, 37 years in television, and 34 years in radio. Of course, we are not doing linear calculations. He's not as old as that. He has won several awards. He has won several awards for his work in these disciplines. He's here this morning in his capacity as a man of the arts to share with us, as we observe Indian Arrival Day, the contribution of the Indo-Trinidadian community to the arts. Time will not allow me to read his full bio. It was 7 pages long. I will briefly highlight some of his achievements in the arts. As the CEO and owner of the film production company Golden Eye Productions, he produced and directed 2 psychological thrillers, Infidelity and Tales of the Mind.
Infidelity was screened at Gemstone Cinema 1 in Woodbrook to rave reviews. As an actor, he cut his teeth with the San Fernando Theatre Workshop and was the lead actor in many of their productions, among them The Coffin, when he won Best Actor, The Glass Menagerie, nominated for Best Actor, and The Bear, nominated for Best Actor. In the sphere of television, who can forget his riveting performance in No Boundaries? Lead actor 3 seasons. New Boundaries is currently in reruns with a new generations of viewers enjoying it as much as we did. He also appeared in Sugarcane Arrows and Westwood Park with Tree and Mirabai. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correctly. And I can go on, but time is of the essence. So based on what you have heard and what I have just read, I'm sure you will agree that there is no better person to address us this morning on this topic than Mr. Hansen Jr. Mr. Aju.
Good morning, everyone. This is such a lovely reception, and I want to thank the executive of Ttarp for inviting me here to speak on a topic that is very, very close to my heart. Thank you so much again for this invitation. I actually recognize Mr. Ronnie Roberts, who attended one of my film premieres. That movie, incidentally, is going to be streamed around the world in 1 month's time, and the other film that you came to is going to be shown in cinemas in July, here and then streamed internationally. Thank you so much. His brother, Errol Blood Roberts, is the greatest actor in Trinidad and Tobago. I call him the Brando, Marlon Brando of Trinidad and Tobago. Thank you. I'm going to read a little bit from what I prepared here, and of course I'll do some ad-libbing as well, because this is such a vast topic to talk about the contribution of the arts in this rainbow country of ours. And I was actually brought here by a member of Ttarp and one of my great influences and one of the finest actors and educators in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. David Sammy, who is a member of your organization. You know, inviting me here to speak on a topic that is indeed the very foundation of my being, and that is the arts. However, I'm relegated to speaking from the perspective of the Indian presence here in our blessed land and their contribution to artistic development. Let me at the onset say that I'm a second-generation Trinidadian. My paternal grandparents are Indian nationals. My grandfather was the finest man I ever knew. My maternal side, my mother, of San Fernandians. Incidentally, my paternal grandparents are very, very strict Hindus. It's the strictest form of Hinduism I ever experienced. But on my maternal side, my mother and her family were San Fernandians and very Christian. Very, very Christian, and they ensured that I was baptized as such. That being said, the successes I've had, if you would consider them successes, were due to mentorship and influences outside of my race. I owe my life and my career to Horace James, James Lewa, Brendan De Silva, who is Indian, and Hal Graves. What I celebrate when I think of Indian arrival is the great fortune I've had in my life to be of Indian descent and be born in this blessed land of opportunity. That being said, the contribution of the Indian presence and their contribution to national development cannot be overestimated. Their influence is everywhere, particularly in the arts. You can just ask Raj Shorty Ai. His inspired classic Om Shanti Om, which incidentally was taken back to India, recorded by a major singer called Kishore Kumar, and was the title track for a movie of the very same name. Whether Raj Shorty Ai got his residuals and his royalties, I don't know. We'll have to ask the Indian producers. When we look at Sparrow's Marajin, Shigaralo's Roti and Dalpuri, you remember that. And Hollis Chalky Liverpool's Ram the Magician, you remember that song? If you can't run the country, then call him Kapalani. These are just some of the influences, but I sat down with Mr. Sammy and I said, from this, and I'm grateful for it, as a filmmaker, I saw the opportunity to put this together on film, not only for posterity, and sometimes I hate the expression, but for the education of the generations that Father spoke about, the generations to come. I worked extensively with Vision and Mission. I was part of developing Vision and Mission starting in 1998 when Wade Chance and they came out of prison. And they joined me on Trinidad and Tobago television. And what I realized from the stories of these young men is precisely what you were talking about, sir, about lack of influence, lack of mentorship, the things that we experience within our lives were not available to these young prisoners and these boys. It's not their fault. But when we record the stories of these great individuals that I'm about to name, their stories must be told to these young people because sadly there's a generation here in Trinidad and Tobago that do not know it as a peaceful society. That they only know it crime and their negativity pervades almost everything that they do. And our experiences, and particularly yours, would have been completely different. And these people that I'm about to name here, I'm going to take that opportunity to put on film and record their lives in addition to the others. As a matter of fact, I'm also writing a script for a movie, and I spoke to Michael Sherry on Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, with Michael playing Buzz himself. Because these stories of these great people, of this wonderful land of ours, their stories need to be told. On the issue of the arts, and I've got to name a couple of people here, and I will just ad-lib around it if you would indulge me so. One of the names that comes to mind, and let me just talk from the perspective first of acting, which is the closest to my heart, is Ralph Maraj. Ralph Maraj, of course, a great educator. He came out of Naparima College, but of course, he was the man who, in earnest, started film in Trinidad and Tobago in terms of it becoming an industry in Trinidad and Tobago with films like Bim, The Caribbean Fox, The Right and the Wrong, and others. However, here in Trinidad, just like so many other things, it was intermittent. We thought that was the start of the film industry, but of course we're only just getting there to producing as it should have been then. Victor Edwards is another name, another educator. Currently, Green Days by the River, he's preparing Green Days by the River to bring him to the stage. He's done so with other pieces like Eric the Musical, you all will remember that, the story and the life of the father of the nation, Dr. Eric Williams. And you would have seen him producing A Brighter Sun, Samuel Selvin. Freddie Kissoon, The Strolling Players. Again, another educator, and of course he brought to the fore people like Beulah, Ken Boodoo, and others. Calabash Alley, which became a very, very popular television program. Freddie Kissoon was a writer, director, and of course a man who administrated over the Strolling Players. Among our novelists, and I had the opportunity of meeting Sir Vivian Naipaul, V.S. Naipaul, who literally needs no introduction. Recently here we saw a big British film company associated with Hollywood coming down to shoot The Mystic Monsieur, one of Naipaul's books. And the sad thing is much of Naipaul's works should be in film. Samuel Salva, and of course the pieces of The Lonely Londoners, and of course David, you were in remind me of the Mystic Monsieur. No, well, Mystic Monsieur was V.S. Naipaul. Samuel Salva, A Brighter Sun. Yes, and that was produced recently. Rabindranath Maharaj, a student of Naparima College. He's now based in Canada, and he has several books that have already come out. These are just some of the many scribes that have influenced. Naipaul's work is all over the world. Sadly, I felt he made some statements that wasn't too complimentary about the land of his birth, and I found that regrettable. I found it regrettable. When we look at people like Shastri Maharaj, whose publications are now out in schools where young people can follow the arts, and sir, you're so right. Without the sustenance of the arts in school, the greatest societies in the world, their foundation is the arts. Because of that, I had the opportunity of meeting like Sidney Poitier, Susanna York. I was the only Caribbean artist, journalist to have interviewed Sir Sidney Poitier in Tokyo. When we look at Ralph Bailey, the great sculptor, whose work has been extensively covered by journalists in the country, and his work is seen as international and of an international standard, Ralph and Vera Bailey stand head and shoulders. But then there are unsung heroes, like Edison Suku, former principal of Naparima College, a great artist, a man who studied the Caribbean aesthetic. Kemal Manikchand, one of the great designers. Do you know most, and you spoke about Mr. Manning. Mr. Manning was a big fan of Manikchand's work, and so was deceased Prime Minister Bastille Pandey. Do you know a lot of the major functions for government, particularly from Prime Minister's office, was from Mr. Kemal Manikchand, and Manikchand designs. The list goes on and on. And when we talk about the influence of dance, today Sat and Mandira Balkaran Singh, we have Indira Mahatu, but I want to name a young genius. And we spoke about us being a collective whole in this country. Michael Saligram, through the Shiv Shakti dances, brought to the fore and to the stage for the Miss Mastana Mahar Queen competition, and prepared the girl for the competition, which she won, and the young lady was of African descent. Michael Saligram. And that was an important message that we sent to the rest of the world when it was televised. Today, when we look at Pat Matura, I worked closely with him. He had a brief stint at the National Broadcasting Service. He was a mayor of Port of Spain. How many of you remember that? Pat Matura was a mayor of Port of Spain, yes. And in addition to being a host for television, how he kept his hair black all those years, I don't know. As a matter of fact, I don't even know how he kept his hair. I never got around to asking you. The great Sam Gaddy. The great Sam Gaddy was there. He also worked at my former institution, the National Broadcasting Service. That's a place where I was trained by David Elcock and Brenda De Silva. Brenda De Silva, formerly Brenda Oja, I consider her to be the greatest broadcaster, and she's responsible for today's top broadcasters that you saw. She was actually David Elcock's boss, believe it or not. Hans Hanuman Singh and Gideon Hanuman Singh. True greats. But it could not have happened without Kamaluddin Muhammad's with Kamal's fortitude when he went on Rediffusion Radio back in the war days, just after the war, and started the very first Indian program on radio. You would remember that. And of course, he went on to join with Dr. Eric Williams, and they formed what is now the People's National Movement at his, the Dil Bahar restaurant, I think, was the name of where Dr. Williams and Mr. Mahabir and Mr. Muhammad would meet. Among the musicians, how could we forget? Right here in San Fernando, the great Bobby Muhammad. Guinness Cavaliers. 3 Panorama titles back in the 1960s. Jit Sabaru. Steve Achaiba, formerly of Hatters, then went on to form South Stars. Young Johan Chokari, who took away from Phase 2 Pangrove and took over from Len Mugsy Shah. Now a young genius, and incidentally, he's in one of my films. He plays to the song Masquerade, which is a classic by Karen Carpenter and another blues singer. I'm trying to remember her name, but it'll come back to me. Among them, we saw a crossover that took the soca work and took chutney and married it into one great form. And we have young people to thank for that as the generation continues in the form of Dilly Nadan and the Ramnarai brothers. Ricky Jai, who told you to hold the Lata Mangeshkar and give me soca, and he went on to forge and carve his own path here in Trinidad and Tobago. Interestingly, Flores de San Jose, with Gloria Alcazar, of course, the Flores brothers, when Gloria passed, Charlene Ali took over and became Flores de San Jose. And you know her, Charlene Flores. Her husband Wayne passed away 2 years ago. The great Wayne Flores. Kenny J, right here in San Fernando. Of course, Kenny used to say, "Aisa Dogla," so split fame too. He and I were very good friends. Hazel Rambaran Singh, who brought the great music of Christmas, a staple in the world of Christmas. Today we continue to see so many individuals who would have contributed. And some of these names that I've called here, many of us remember it. But today, we have people coming from all over the world, vloggers from all over the world, to sample a dish that came here, but was more or less, it evolved into something very different. In what is now considered to be the most talked about breakfast on planet Earth. Doubles. And the largest experimentation took place in South Trinidad, particularly in Naparima College, in Princess Town. It's interesting, I saw a note here that was quoted by an associate professor of anthropology and Asian American studies. And he says that the Indian community in Trinidad is callaloo on tossed salad. I really tried to make sense of it and I couldn't. Not for the life of me, I simply couldn't. Indians who started in the arts, one of them went on to become a prime minister. Basdeo Pandey. The late Basdeo Pandey became Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, passed away recently, but he was one of the first people to do film abroad while he was studying law and came back here to bring it. But more importantly, what the arts did was for those people who came in 1845, was that the arts helped them to connect to the homeland, or what was called their motherland. For me, it's a grandmotherland. And a fellow called Ranjit Kumar, who came here, incidentally, he was brought here to work on Wright's Road. There's a novel out which was sanctioned by his daughter, Catherine Kumar, who is part of the Port of Spain Chamber, the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Commerce. And Ranjit Kumar brought the first Indian movie to Trinidad. It was called Bala Jobai. And that was where those who were here for close to, well, it was a little over 75 years, they were now able to connect to India, because many were not able to go back. And we have to thank Ranjit Kumar, who came here to build the Wright's Road for bringing Indian film to Trinidad and Tobago, that helped the Indian community to remain connected to India. With the evolution of Bangwa and what we call Holi in India, utensils that we continue to see here in Trinidad and Tobago that is so popularly used, the tawa, these things now, the bailna, which incidentally is on the list of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service as a dangerous weapon. Believe me, I know. These things have become an indigenous part of Trinidad and Tobago. But as a second generation Trinidadian, in closing, I want to say this. The legacy of these individuals that I spoke about, the few of them, is for all our citizenry. It must be for all our people. Our father spoke about our young people we're losing them. And I'm deeply concerned about that. I've started training a number of them in the area of film and cinematography. I've rejoined my group, Vision on Mission, to start working with the young prisoners, because our prison population, you have no idea. And I say this, why it's important to take the values that were brought here by Indians to the country as part of our melting pot to improve the lives of our young people. Because I ask this, how many more of our young men are we going to kill? It's an indictment on our country when we keep shooting our young people. It's also an indictment on our generation and the generation that went before. But there are values, intrinsic values in what the Indians brought here to Trinidad and Tobago that can be inculcated as part of the melting pot of Trinidad and Tobago to make us better and greater quality citizens. I say this, many of these people that I've named here, like Mr. Sammy, Ralph Barrage, V.S. Naipaul, and so many others, they were able to practice their art and they taught it. They taught it to other people, they passed it on. We've got to continue. As members of Ttarp, one of the things that I want to say to you, because I'm still active, I plan to be working up to 90, if life would allow me. If Clint Eastwood could do it, shoot his latest movie at 94, who's me? Bring all this repository of knowledge to our young people. Yes, they'll behave arrogantly. Yes, sometimes you feel like you're bouncing a brick wall. My kids are young. I actually have a son in college. Still, came along when I was 40 years old. Didn't expect the fellow. And he's doing extremely well. He's doing quite well because I talk to him constantly. Let us bring this to our young people because we have got to stop shooting our young people. A young man bleeding on the road is not the solution for a nation that wants to progress. We're not a third world nation. They call us a developing nation. But I say Trinidad and Tobago had brilliant moments. Moments when it stood on top of the world and stood as a country, as a great nation, and simply because of this diversity. that we must celebrate and bring to our youth. So I say to you in closing that we must recognize our diversity and the contribution of what the Indians have brought here to find that formula that we must find as a collective whole, as one people, as one nation, celebrating and recognizing our diversity and our differences, being just as valuable as our energy resources, which incidentally is not renewable. But Singapore taught us that people are renewable, our resources, our people are renewable. Our experiences can carry us because Trinidad and Tobago has done more per capita than many countries. We gave this world in 1977 Janelle Penny-Commission. We gave this world Brian Lara. We gave this world Hazley Crawford. The brightest people per capita, I think, is right here. I had that argument the other day. So I am saying, take this. Take what the Indians brought here and what all our people brought here and embrace it. Embrace it towards a spiritual unity, not the artificial unity. Let us celebrate our differences. And I say this as a second-generation Trinidadian because my first language was not English. Growing up on my grandfather's estate, we spoke Bhojpuri. Bhojpuri, which is the language of Uttar Pradesh, northern India. We must identify, and I want to borrow, and I want to take what that message that was just brought to us here. We must urge our young people to identify themselves as patriots and inculcate in them love for country. Because the reason why I'm standing here today is because of all the lessons that were taught to me by people who came to this land and who understood the importance of family and tradition, which today we celebrate. But there are many traditions that came here that have made me a greater person. From the Afro-Trinidadian community, the Syrian community, the Chinese community, we have too many things to celebrate in Trinidad and Tobago. So I say this, in the future, I would like to see when we celebrate arrival, we celebrate the arrival of all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Father West and Mr. Jida. Can we show appreciation for giving them another round of applause? And before we run out of time, can I ask all the goodly men to come on stage so that we could visualize them and recognize them and celebrate them for what they are. All the goodly men.
microphone. I'm working.
On behalf of we are now presenting the men of our organization with gifts on behalf of all of you.
Megan, could we have a round of applause for the men again? Thank you.
mantle was spreading, while Mary was standing and listening to me. Wasn't the truth in her eyes ever gleaming that made me love Mary, the Rose of Charlie? She was lovely and fair like the rose in the summer. Was not her beauty alone that won me? Wasn't the truth in her eyes ever gleaming that made me love Mary, the Rose of Charlie?
Ronnie,
Yes, this is supposed to be people watching and talking. It doesn't happen.
Good day. Good afternoon. If I knew I was coming after two such powerful speakers, I might not come today. But then I would not get the gift. Thank you to Uncle Diamond. I come to bring some good news and some great news. But for those of you who don't know, but most people should know, I'm Ronnie Roberts, Chairman of Royals. And I'm here with you today. I bring greetings from Royals, Princess Song Rio Claro Group. First, I say congratulations on your 28th anniversary celebration and born coming up. And I hope to dance with all of you ladies on the 18th. Hope you all will be there. Now the good news. Bingo 2 had to be postponed. We didn't get the approval from the police, and the police was involved in giving the approval, so we didn't want them to come and shut us down. So we have set the new date, June 29th. But would you believe we still didn't get the approval? And we applied since then. But anyway, we're hoping to get the approval. Remember, we have lovely prizes, nice blenders, fans, etc., etc. And the jackpot would be twin tub washer. I don't want to get it wrong because people may sue. Twin tub washer. Anybody know any other? Flat screen TV and a microwave. So what a lovely jackpot. It's only $60. It's only $60, please. We need your support because the venue remains the same, but the date has changed, carrying up the bill by $6,000. So we need much more people to come out. We were averaging about 300 then, and we're looking for about 400 to 450 so that we can start to break even. So we need your support, please. So please support Ttarp Bingo. That being said, Royals doing a 24-cent raffle. We like to do that. First prize would be a flat screen TV. Second prize a tablet. Third prize a cell phone. Fourth prize a microwave. Now to explain it to you, because some people get confused, it's so cheap, 24 cents. You can get 40 chances for $10. You can get 20 chances for $5. Try and imagine 40 chances and you could win a flat screen TV for about $1,500. We wouldn't go right up the ladder to 52. All right, so I have done some sheets here and I hope you all buy me out at the end of the meeting. Thank you. Anybody ready? I can come to you. Okay. My good friend, Mr. Ajoda, it was nice sharing. My brother, I was the better actor, but I couldn't remember my lines. And those days didn't have a teleprompter. So I think I may go back and try now. You have room for me, Mr. Ajoda? All right. But when you're going to the prison, give me a call. And a straight meet Mr. Bean and kind of things that talk with him. Father, thank you. You may not know me. I'm an African from Princess Town. My face is familiar. And thank you. I'm not a father, but I like what you said for fathers. But I'm still praying. I don't know if you would touch me so I can be a father at 64. What do you think? Only don't tell my wife, eh? Lovely, I get some requests here where the bingo taking place. Don't vex about the Rima on the tennis court, but it's in the city tennis club. Where we used to go and dance parang a long time, tennis court, but they changed it to tennis club now. So hope you all come out. We averaging about 100 from Purple Diamond. That would carry these numbers right up. Thank you. All right, it was nice being here. Thanks, bud.
Okay, remember we still have to draw your raffle after we've had 2 renditions from Ansel. Thank you, Anselm, for that wonderful rendition. Always a crowd pleaser. Okay, now we'll have the drawing of the raffle. Any last chances? Sita, the raffle box. Guy tree. Guy tree.
You going there?
Guy tree.
You know, yeah, he bounce back. He good now. He good now. I hope so, yeah, you know.
Excuse me, hello. Quick attention, please. First, I was told we have 5 large maxis so far for outing on the 22nd. So I thank you. Persons who want to put their names down. Now what we have is we have the first batch, that's 5 large maxis. Then we usually carry a small one. But the important thing is persons who want to put their names down, there's a standby list also. So because people tend to have little emergencies, so when they cancel, you automatically go to the next person. The other important thing is, please make sure you're on WhatsApp, because all the information about when we leave, where we leave, etc. will come on our WhatsApp chat. So please make sure that you are on the WhatsApp chat. Thank you.
Maria, please.
Bye-bye. You going there? All right.
Able to purchase dance tickets today for any reason, we would have members here on Monday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So you could come to the center here to purchase your tickets. That's for the anniversary dance on the 18th, Monday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Plesantville Community Center. Okay, we're going to draw the bingo. The raffle prize now, Miss Aline would make the first pick. Seven, 8, 3. 7, 8, 3. Once, 833 for the homemade sweet bread. Going once. 833.
Bingo. Working together.
Okay, thank you for your kind participation and donation. Safe travel home and be of good faith. Thank you all. Thank you all.